What if, now hear me out, the Oklahoma Sooners are actually good next year? What is the path for success? Let's talk about it. We're going to dive into some of the returning production pieces, a little bit more deeper dive, as well as talk through what a lot of the talking heads are saying about Oklahoma right now, because a lot of people are unfortunately jumping on the bandwagon. Let's dive into that. Before we do that, welcome to Unfair Sports. I'm your host, Jay. Thank y'all for pulling up to the channel. This video is powered by our partners over there at BetUS. Check them out. They are hooking you up 150% bonus on the first deposit of $2,000 by using promo code YouTube150. Returning production is one thing I always like looking at going into the next year. We'll have another one come spring because the spring portal does exist. But I asked the question, if Oklahoma's actually good, what's the path? Like, what signs or things would you need to see in order to recognize, okay, this team could potentially be really good? Well, let's look at that returning production. And then we're going to talk about the talking heads and what they feel about Oklahoma. Wrap up with the schedule. Then I'll let you be the judge. First off, returning production. Look at these numbers. So as of right now, Oklahoma is considered third in the SEC for returning production. Number 10 overall in the country, bringing back a lot of firepower on offense, especially with the numbers for John Mateer coming in. All your running backs are back. Majority of your offensive line is back. And a bunch of wide receivers that actually had some production. You're bringing back a lot. And kind of piggybacking off of spring 2024, I told you all, my expectation was the defense was going to carry this team forward. And because they returned the third most in the country in production, they did. Finishing the year top 10 in defensive efficiency, finishing the year with 6 wins with an offense that was one of the worst in Oklahoma history and one of the worst in college football just in general, bottom 30 in the country. The defense carried us. And shout out to them. They carried us to actually getting into a bowl game. That's the one thing I have to say I was right on. The offense, though, in returning production at 114 last spring, I kind of expected the wide receivers to be our saviors. The skills positions more so. Wide receivers, running back to save us. Young offensive line, young quarterback. I thought they would save us. But the minute you lost the wide receivers, you lost everything. And we saw that. This year's a different story. You're bringing in a bunch of new wide receivers who appear to be healthy. If they remain healthy, you're in a good place. Defense is not rated as high, 46, which to me is not awful. It's right in line with the numbers I would have expected. I still believe the defense is going to be the leader in the pack. And this is why. Let's point out what we're seeing here from everybody else in the SEC and how that kind of lines up with Oklahoma. But before we do that, shout out to our partners at BetUS. They're hooking up the gamer. 150% bonus on the first deposit of $2,000. 125% bonus on your second and thirds by using promo code YouTube150. And as you know, with the futures for college football, Oklahoma's odds aren't too bad. 6,500 on them winning a natty. Actually not a bad number to have. And of course, you know, I put something on it. I'm going to put more on it because it only makes sense to jump on my Sooners bandwagon. But this is just sunshine pupping here. The odds makers think Oklahoma has a chance. And if you want to get into action, hop on BetUS. 150% bonus on the first deposit. 125% bonus on your second and thirds by using promo code YouTube150. All that up to $2,000. Gamble responsibly, but check them out, BetUS, where the game begins. Now, as we talked about that, your next thing is the rest of the SEC. Pull it up. Like, for example, last year, Texas was around 36. offense 26, defense is about 60. So they brought back, they brought in a lot of production in the spring portal. They brought a lot of transfers in, and that 60th ranked defense led them up all the way close to the top. Now, granted, the schedule was very favorable. We'll probably be doing something similar. With our schedule, the one thing I look at is returning production, who we play. You've got Auburn at 22, Alabama 35, LSU 38. They're probably the biggest problem, I think, of all of them. Missouri at 51 overall. Tennessee 58, South Carolina 71, and in Texas at 103. And Ole Miss is at 113. And truly what that means in these numbers is Ole Miss has got a major refresh. Same thing with Georgia. Same thing with Texas. Now, granted, they've recruited well. Georgia and Texas recruited very well, so they've still got young talent that they're going to be developing, so I don't expect them to be awful. But for Oklahoma's sake is they're seeing a lot of new quarterbacks next year. Like a lot of new ones, which should help. Last year we saw a lot of first-time starters, but a lot of them were just still around. Now we're seeing a lot of new quarterbacks coming in for these schools. So if Oklahoma is to be good, that defense needs to continue to carry with an offense that adds and complements to what they're doing. And I think the offense can this year. You brought back all your running backs so far. We lost Emeka Megwa and Caleb Hicks, unfortunately. Two backs that I really liked. Megwa's at UNLV. I think Hicks is at Oklahoma State. You still got Barnes, Sawchuk, Xavier Robinson, Taylor Tatum. You get them going, you got a really good situation. Barnes runs hard. Xavier Robinson is just a load to deal with. Sawchuk has the breakaway speed, and Taylor Tatum has got some moves, and he can find the hole and wiggle through. That's a solid running back room. And then the wide receivers, which we all know we've heard talked about as far as working out with Mateer and hearing about just, them in their winter workouts. Sounds like the wide receiver room is going to be pretty solid, especially when you bring in your freshman in Emmanuel Choice as well as Elijah Thomas. Keep that name in mind. But for Oklahoma, in order to be good, in order to be a good team, the defense needs to continue to carry. So Kip and Kobe needs to continue what Danny Stutzman was doing. The secondary, Robert Spears-Jennings and Peyton Bowen needs to step up now and be the next Billy Bowman. You need Eli. You need to get Gentry Williams back. The defensive line needs to continue to do what they're doing. And I think they can. Talking heads have been saying they're watching John Mateer. They're watching that Brent Venables defense. Now, he is now calling while also having 3 dudes on his staff that have called plays on defense, that have been actual defensive coordinators and called plays. He's building it to where he has a lot of experience around him to help, while he also leads the charge. So, in order for Oklahoma to be good, and for all of the talking heads to be considered right, Ben Arbuckle's going to have to hit. Same thing with John Mateer. The wide receivers are going to need to hit for John Mateer. The offensive line, I expect to be improved. We'll break down each one of the positions in videos over spring practice, but the offensive line I expect to be much improved because we actually got a lot of experience, depth, and people in that weight room to get their body to the spot. It takes about a year to get there, to get to where they need to be. If Oklahoma's good, man, y'all gonna hate me. I'll just say that. Let me know what y'all think. Hop in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think needs to happen in order for Oklahoma to be good? Love to hear your thoughts. Shout out to BetUS for sponsoring the video. They're going to hook you up 150% bonus on the first deposit of $2,000 by using promo code YouTube150. We'll have some more videos coming down. Wednesday is going to be a big day. as we get to talk to all the newcomers. Shout out to OU for allowing that. That's going to be fun. I'll, of course, have a video reaction to that as soon as it's done. And, yeah, we will talk soon. Peace.